Welcome to Shadow Psychology Coded. If you're ready to hear dangerous truths that will change how you see relationships forever, you're in the right place. Subscribe and hit the bell, because what you're about to learn will shatter every romantic myth you've ever believed. You have been lied to about love. You were sold a beautiful, poetic, intoxicating lie, a fairy tale that has poisoned your mind, weakened your spirit, and set you up for a lifetime of quiet desperation and confused resentment. This lie is the myth of romantic love, the idea that there is a perfect someone for you, a soulmate, a missing half that will complete you, make you whole, and bring everlasting happiness. This myth, perpetuated by every love song, every romantic comedy, every novel, and every well-meaning but misguided piece of advice, is perhaps the most effective psychological weapon ever deployed against the modern man. It has made you weak. It has made you needy. It has turned you from a potential sovereign into a beggar pleading for validation from an external source. Today, we begin the necessary work of tearing down this lie brick by brick, using the ruthless hammer of Nietzsche's philosophy. We will expose the historical roots of this deception, understand its psychological mechanics, and liberate you from its crippling grasp. This is not about becoming cynical or cold-hearted. This is about becoming clear-eyed, powerful, and truly free. The myth of romantic love is a relatively recent invention in human history. For most of our existence, marriage and partnerships were primarily economic, political, and practical arrangements. They were about survival, about strengthening alliances, about managing property, and about producing heirs. Love, if it developed, was a welcome bonus, not the foundational requirement. The concept of romantic love as we know it began to take shape in the Middle Ages with the troubadours and their courtly love traditions, but it was still separate from marriage. It was an idealized, often adulterous and highly dramatized form of longing. The real explosion of the myth came with the rise of individualism, consumer culture, and the entertainment industry in the 19th and 20th centuries. Suddenly, love was packaged and sold as the ultimate goal of life, the solution to all existential problems. This was a perfect storm for creating psychological dependency. Nietzsche saw this coming. He understood that this new religion of love was just another form of slave morality, another way to chain the individual to an external ideal. He wrote, "The demand to be loved is the greatest of all presumptuousness." This single sentence cuts to the heart of the problem. The belief that you are entitled to love, that someone should love you, is a manifestation of weakness. It is the demand of the slave, not the command of the master. The sovereign man does not demand to be loved. He becomes so full of life, so powerful, so engaged in his own purpose that love becomes a natural consequence, an overflow, not a desperate need. The myth of romantic love is built on several poisonous assumptions that you must root out of your psyche. The first is the idea of completion. You are taught that you are incomplete, a half person searching for your other half. This is the language of lack, of insufficiency. It programs you from the beginning to see yourself as fundamentally flawed, as needing something outside of yourself to be whole. This is the exact opposite of strength. Strength comes from the realization that you are already complete, that you are a sovereign, self-contained universe. A relationship, then, is not two halves making a whole. It is two wholes choosing to share their abundance. When you approach relationships from a place of lack, you become a beggar. You try to negotiate for love, to earn it, to deserve it. You compromise your values. You sacrifice your mission. You dull your edge, all for the hope of receiving this external validation. This is a losing game. The woman, sensing your neediness, your desperation, your lack of self-containment, will inevitably lose respect for you. She may pity you, she may feel responsible for you, but she will not feel the primal, irresistible attraction that comes from recognizing true strength. Nietzsche's concept of the will to power is essential here. The will to power is the fundamental drive of all life to grow, to expand, to overcome, to assert itself. In a man, this drive is expressed through his purpose, his creativity, his discipline, his mastery. When a man is fully aligned with his will to power, he is magnetic. He doesn't need to chase, he attracts. The myth of romantic love, however, teaches men to suppress their will to power in service of being nice, being accommodating, being safe. It teaches you to become a domesticated animal, a predictable, harmless, and ultimately boring companion. This is why the nice guy so often finishes last. It's not because women are cruel or illogical. It's because they are biologically and psychologically wired to seek out strength, not niceness. Niceness without strength is just weakness in disguise. The second poisonous assumption is the idea of unconditional love. This is perhaps the most insidious part of the myth. You are taught to believe that true love is unconditional, that it accepts you exactly as you are, with no demands for improvement or growth. This is a recipe for stagnation and mediocrity. In reality, all healthy, powerful attraction is highly conditional. It is conditional on you maintaining your strength, your integrity, your purpose, your vitality. A woman's love is not a static state. It is a response to your ongoing performance as a man. This sounds harsh, but it is the truth. Think of it not as a judgment, but as a beautiful, dynamic challenge. Her love is the reward for your continued growth, the fuel for your journey, the recognition of your power. When you stop growing, when you become complacent, when you let your strength fade, the attraction will inevitably fade as well. This is not her being fickle. This is her biological and psychological programming responding to your decline. Nietzsche has called for a revaluation of all values, and this must include the value of love. We must move from the passive receiving model of love to the active creating model. Instead of asking, "How can I find someone to love me?" you must ask, "What kind of man must I become to make love a natural consequence of my existence?" This shifts the entire paradigm from external seeking to internal building. The death of romantic love is therefore not a tragedy, but a liberation. It is the death of a childish fantasy that has kept you in a state of perpetual adolescence. It is the necessary clearing of the ground for something real, something powerful, something truly adult to be built. This new understanding is the foundation for all that follows. It is the first and most critical step in reclaiming your power and understanding what women truly respond to. It is the awakening from a dream that was designed to keep you asleep, to keep you chasing, to keep you weak. The man who believes in the myth of romantic love is a slave to an illusion. The man who has seen through it is free to build his own reality. This is the path of the sovereign man, the man who knows that love is not something you find, but something you earn through the relentless pursuit of your own greatness. And this is just the beginning. In the next chapter, we will dive deeper into the power dynamics of attraction and uncover the specific types of power that women are biologically programmed to desire. Now that we have shattered the porcelain myth of romantic love, we stand amidst its broken pieces and face the raw and varnished truth of human attraction. What remains when the fairy tales are burned away is not chaos but order. Not randomness, but a precise and unforgiving hierarchy of power attraction is not a mystery, it is a physics. It is the inevitable gravitational pull that a body of concentrated power exerts on everything around it. To understand women, to understand why you are attracted to some and repelled by others, why you succeed with some and fail with others, you must first understand power not as an abstract concept, but as a tangible magnetic force that you either possess or lack. This is the core of Nietzsche's insight. The will to power is the fundamental driving force of life, and it is the single greatest determinant of sexual attraction. Women are the ultimate barometers of power. They are biologically and psychologically designed to detect its presence or absence with terrifying accuracy. This is not a conscious choice, not a social construct. It is a deep evolutionary imperative honed over millions of years. A woman's survival and the survival of her potential offspring have always depended on her ability to identify and attach herself to a man who possesses real power in its various forms. This is the brutal logic of nature that operates beneath the surface of civilized conversation and social etiquette. When you walk into a room, when you speak, when you carry yourself. A woman's ancient subconscious machinery is scanning you. It is assessing your value, your strength, your potential as a provider and protector of her genetic legacy. You are being measured against a primal standard, and there is no mercy in this judgment, no points for good intentions, no credit for potential. If you do not display the markers of power in the present moment, you are filtered out, dismissed, relegated to the category of the invisible. This is why you can be a good man, a kind man, intelligent man, and still feel utterly powerless in the realm of attraction, because kindness and intelligence, without the foundation of power, are seen as decorations on a weak structure. They are not the structure itself. There are three fundamental types of power that trigger this primal attraction mechanism, and you must master all three. The first is physical power. This is the most primitive, most immediate form of power. It is the power of the body, the evidence of health, strength, and genetic fitness. This does not mean you need to be a professional bodybuilder, but it does mean you cannot be soft, weak, or sickly looking. A man's body is a billboard for his discipline, his self-respect, and his ability to overcome comfort. A strong, capable body signals to a woman's subconscious that you can handle the physical challenges of life, that you can protect her and her children, that you carry strong genes. This is non-negotiable. You cannot preach discipline from a body that shows laziness. You cannot speak of power from a frame that shows neglect. Your physical form is the first and most basic testament to your will to power or your lack thereof. The second is social power. This is the power of status, reputation, and influence within a tribe. It is the modern equivalent of being the chieftain, the leader, the man of respect. Social power is demonstrated by how other people, especially other men, treat you. Do they listen when you speak? Do they seek your opinion? Do they defer to your judgment? Are you at the center of the social dynamics, or are you on the periphery? A man with social power commands attention not by demanding it, but by naturally attracting it through his competence, his confidence, his calm authority. This power signals to a woman that you can navigate the complex social world, that you can provide not just physical security, but social security, that your children will have advantages and protection within the community. It shows that you are a valuable asset to the tribe, and their faitito, or a valuable partner. The third and most important is psychological power. This is the power of the mind, the will, the character. It is your internal sovereignty, your unshakable self-confidence, your ability to maintain, frame, your emotional control, your purpose. Psychological power is the bedrock upon which the other two are built. It is the voice that does not waver, the gaze that does not flicker, the calm in the midst of chaos. It is the power of a man who knows who he is, what he stands for, and where he is going. A man with psychological power is not easily shaken by external events. He does not seek validation. He does not fear conflict. He owns his reality. This is perhaps the most magnetic form of power because it is the rarest. It signals to a woman that you are a rock in the storm, that you can handle her emotions without being overwhelmed by them, that you can lead her through the uncertainties of life without losing your own way. It promises stability and direction. In a chaotic world, these three forms of power, physical, social, and psychological, are not separate. They feed into each other and they create a synergistic effect. A man who is physically strong and socially respected is likely to have strong psychological power and vice versa. But the foundation is always the psychological without an iron will and a sovereign mind. The physical strength becomes brutish, and the social power becomes manipulative. With psychological power, the physical and social dimensions become authentic expressions of your inner strength. The critical mistake most men make is that they try to fake these power signals. They learn pickup lines, they practice body language tricks, they try to display status through expensive clothes or cars. This is a fool's errand. Women have a sixth sense for inauthenticity. Their subconscious can detect the discrepancy between the performance and the reality, between the mask and the man, when they sense you are performing, when they sense you are trying to impress them. You have already failed because the very act of trying to prove your power is an admission that you lack it. The man who truly possesses power does not need to prove it, he simply is. His power radiates from him as a natural consequence of his being. It is in his calm demeanor, his direct eye contact, his measured speech, his comfortable silence, his lack of reaction to petty provocations. So the question is not, how can I appear powerful? The question is, how can I become powerful? How can I build these three forms of power within myself? This is the real work. This is the path of the sovereign man. It begins with a ruthless self-audit. Where are you weak physically? Are you flabby? Are you weak? Do you lack energy? Where are you weak socially? Are you ignored? Do you struggle to command respect? Do you fear social confrontation? Where are you weak psychologically? Are you easily offended? Do you seek approval? Are you reactive rather than proactive? Do you lack a clear purpose? This audit is the starting point from this moment forward. Your mission is to systematically build your power in all three domains. You must train your body not for vanity, but for strength and resilience. You must engage with the world and build your skills, your competence, your reputation. You must do the deep inner work of forging an unshakable character through discipline, self-honesty, and the relentless pursuit of a meaningful purpose. This is what Nietzsche meant by becoming the overman. You are not born powerful. You become powerful through conscious, relentless self-overcoming attraction. Then is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by becoming a man of power. When you are physically strong, socially respected, and psychologically sovereign, you will not need to chase women. You will need to manage the attention they give you. The dynamic flips. Completely, you move from the position of the supplicant to the position of the selector. This is the ultimate power dynamic, and it is available to any man willing to do the hard work of building real, substantial, undeniable power. This understanding is the key that unlocks the mystery of attraction. It is the end of confusion and the beginning of clarity, the end of hoping and the beginning of knowing. Now you understand the physics of attraction, you see the raw power dynamics at play, but knowledge is not enough. You must now confront the single greatest obstacle standing between you and the embodiment of that power, the psychological chains that keep you weak, needy, and perpetually begging for validation. This is the slavery of approval. Seeking the desperate unconscious need for external affirmation that poisons your actions, corrupts your character, and makes you repulsive to the very women you hope to attract. This is not a minor flaw, it is the core pathology of the modern weak man. And until you break these chains, everything you build will be erected on a foundation of sand. Let us be brutally clear. The need for approval is a disease of the soul, a psychological cancer that metastasizes into every area of your life. It is the voice that whispers, "What will they think of me?" It is the anxiety that tightens your chest before you speak your truth. It is the compromise you make to avoid conflict. It is the fake smile you wear to appear agreeable. It is the constant editing of your behavior to fit someone else's expectations. This need for approval is the absolute antithesis of power. It is the behavior of a slave, not a sovereign. And women, the ultimate detectors of power, can smell this slave mentality from a mile away. It repels them at a primal level because it signals one thing clearly. This man does not value himself. So why should I value him? This slavery begins in your neurology. When you seek approval and receive it, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine, the same neurotransmitter associated with drug addiction and other pleasurable rewards. You become addicted to this external validation. You become an approval junkie, constantly chasing your next fix from bosses, from friends, and most destructively from women. Every time you change your opinion to match hers, every time you laugh too hard at her joke, every time you suppress your desire to avoid making her uncomfortable. You are taking a hit of that addictive drug and reinforcing the neural pathways of your own slavery. The need for female approval in particular is the most debilitating form of this addiction. It transforms you from a man with a mission into a performing seal, desperately clapping its fins for a scrap of validation. You stop acting based on your own purpose and start acting based on what you think will earn you. A smile, a compliment, a touch of her attention. You become a reactive creature, your entire emotional state dependent on her mood, her responses, her whims. This is the definition of psychological slavery. You have handed her the remote control to your inner world, and she will inevitably and rightly lose all respect for you. Because no one can respect a man who does not respect himself. This approval seeking manifests in what I call the cycle of the nice guy. It begins with a false premise. If I am nice enough, helpful enough, accommodating enough, then I will be worthy of love and approval. So you perform, you hide your edges, you suppress your desires, you prioritize her needs above your own. You become the ultimate supplicant. And initially, it may work. You may receive some approval for your compliance. But here's the cruel paradox. The very act of seeking approval through niceness destroys the attraction that approval seeking is meant to secure. Because the qualities that create attraction are the exact opposite of nice guy behavior: strength, independence, unpredictability, self-validation. When you are nice for the sake of approval, you are demonstrating weakness, dependence, predictability, and a desperate need for external validation. So the woman initially pleased by the attention soon feels the instinctual repulsion from your weakness. She may not understand it consciously, but she feels it as a loss of respect, as a dulling of excitement, as a quiet disappointment. She begins to withdraw her approval, which triggers a panic in you, the nice guy. So you double down, you become even nice. are more accommodating, more desperate, which makes you even weaker and even less attractive, thus accelerating the downward spiral. This cycle ends in one of two ways: either in quiet resentment as you realize your niceness has not been rewarded, or in explosive anger when you finally snap after years of suppressing your true self. Both outcomes are the inevitable result of the approval-seeking disease. Nietzsche diagnosed this sickness as a core component of slave morality, the morality of those who cannot create their own values and therefore seek value through the opinions of others. The herd animal, he wrote, finds his strength in numbers, his security in being like everyone else, his conscience in public opinion. The man seeking approval is a herd animal. He has outsourced his self-worth to the tribe, and most pathetically to a single member of the tribe. He has made her his god, and he worships at the altar of her opinion. The path to freedom, the path to power, begins with the deliberate, systematic destruction of this need. The first step is recognition. You must become a hunter of your own approval, seeking behaviors. Carry a small notebook for 1 week, and every time you catch yourself acting for approval, write it down. Did I just change my opinion to match hers? Did I just offer help I didn't want to give? Did I just laugh when I didn't find it funny? Did I just hold back my truth to keep the peace? This list will shock you with its length. It will reveal the sheer scale of your slavery. The second step is the practice of deliberate disobedience. This is where you begin to rewire your brain. You must consciously, deliberately do the opposite of what your approval. Seeking instinct demands if you feel the urge to agree when you disagree. State your different opinion clearly and calmly. If you feel the urge to offer help when it is not needed or wanted, stay silent. If you feel the urge to seek reassurance for a decision you have made, sit with the discomfort. Instead, this will feel terrifying. At first, your heart will race, your palms will sweat, the addiction will scream for its fix. But you must hold the line. You must endure the withdrawal symptoms. Each act of disobedience is a hammer blow to the chains of your slavery. The third step is the cultivation of internal validation. You must build a source of self-worth that is entirely independent of external opinion. This comes from one thing and one thing only: keeping promises to yourself. When you set a goal to work out and you do it, you generate self-respect. When you decide to wake up early and you do it, you generate self-trust. When you commit to a difficult task and you see it through, you generate internal power. This internal scorecard becomes your new foundation. You no longer look to others to tell you that you are good enough. You know you are good enough because you have the evidence of your own discipline and accomplishments. This is the beginning of sovereignty. This shift will transform your interactions with women. You will stop looking at them as sources of validation and start seeing them as potential partners in your already full and meaningful life. You will stop monitoring their reactions and start expressing your authentic self. This authenticity, this lack of neediness, is what creates true powerful attraction. When you no longer need her approval, she is free to give it genuinely and abundantly. Not as a reward to a supplicant, but as a gift to an equal, to a sovereign, breaking the slavery of approval. Seeking is the most important psychological work you will ever do. It is the prerequisite for real power and real attraction. It is the death of the needy boy and the birth of the self-possessed man. This is your path out of the herd. This is your first step toward becoming a man who is truly and unshakably free. The chains of approval seeking have been identified, and with deliberate disobedience you have begun to shatter them. But a man freed from slavery is not yet a king. He is simply a free man standing in an empty field. The question now becomes, what will you build with this freedom? How will you fill this new space within yourself? This is where we move from deconstruction to construction, from breaking old patterns to forging new substance. This is the alchemical process of building inner power, the kind of power that is not dependent on external validation, not contingent on circumstances, not diminished by criticism, but is as solid and unyielding as granite. This inner power is what Nietzsche called the will to power in its highest form. It is not the will to dominate others, but the will to master yourself, to overcome your own limitations, to become the commandant of your own soul. This is the foundation upon which everything else rests. Your attractiveness, your success, your peace, all are mere reflections of this core inner strength. The forging of this power is a systematic process. It requires heat pressure and relentless repetition. It begins with what I call the iron promise. This is the daily non-negotiable commitment you make to yourself. It is not a goal, not a wish. It is a vow. The iron promise must be small, specific, and immovable. It could be, I will wake at 5 a.m. every day. I will not eat sugar. I will write for 1 hour. I will complete my workout. The content matters less than the absolute unwavering consistency of execution. Every time you keep the iron promise, you are sending a powerful message to your subconscious. I'm a man of my word. My will is law. Every time you break it, you reinforce weakness. You tell yourself my comfort, my impulses, my distractions are more powerful than my word. This is why most men remain weak. They make grand plans but falter on the daily discipline. The iron promise is the hammer that forges self-trust. The next element is the embrace of voluntary discomfort. Your inner power is like a muscle. It only grows when subjected to resistance that is slightly beyond its current capacity. You must therefore systematically seek out and overcome discomfort. Take cold showers, skip a meal walk instead of drive fast for a day, wake up when you want to sleep, stay standing when you want to sit. These acts of voluntary discomfort are not masochism. They are training, they are reps for your will. Each time you choose discomfort over comfort, you are strengthening your ability to command yourself. You are proving to your deepest self that you are not a slave to your impulses, that you can endure and even thrive in conditions that would break a weaker man. This practice builds what the ancients called ascetic power, the power that comes from deliberate self-denial. And it is this power that allows you to remain calm and focused when life inevitably throws involuntary discomfort. Your way alongside this, you must cultivate what I call the sovereign mind. This is the practice of becoming the ultimate authority in your own life. It means you stop outsourcing your decisions, your values, your judgments to any external source no more. What will my friends think? No more. What does society expect? No more. What would make my parents proud? You become the sole judge and jury of your own actions. This does not mean you become a narcissist who ignores all feedback. It means you consume feedback from all sources. But the final decision, the ultimate judgment, rests entirely with you. You weigh the evidence, you consult your own values, and you decree the verdict. This mental shift is profound. It transfers the seat of power from the outside world to your own consciousness to develop the sovereign mind. You must practice the daily counsel each morning. You sit in silence and you ask yourself what needs to be done today. Not what do others want from me, but what must I do to advance my purpose, to embody my values, to become stronger. Then you execute without hesitation, without looking for approval, without worrying about opinions. The final and most crucial element in forging inner power is the connection to a purpose greater than yourself. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any. How a man without a purpose is a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave of emotion, every wind of opinion. He is reactive, scattered, easily manipulated, but a man with a purpose becomes a force of nature. His energy is focused, his decisions are clear, his will is concentrated. Your purpose is your North Star. It is the mission that gives meaning to the struggle that makes the discipline worthwhile. It is what transforms the forging process from a tedious exercise into a heroic journey. Your purpose does not have to be grandiose. It does not have to be to save the world. It simply has to be something that genuinely calls to your soul, that makes you feel fully alive. It could be to build a business, to create art, to master a skill, to protect your family, to seek truth. Whatever it is, it must be yours, and it must be pursued with relentless dedication. When you are aligned with your purpose, the need for approval evaporates because you are too busy building to worry about what others think. The fear of rejection diminishes because your mission is more important than any single interaction. The anxiety of failure transforms into fuel for growth because every setback becomes a lesson on the path to mastery. This is the complete picture. The iron promise for self-trust, voluntary discomfort for resilience. The sovereign mind for authority, and a burning purpose for direction. These four elements working together create an inner power that is unassailable. This power then radiates outward. It changes your posture, your gaze, your voice. It creates a magnetic field that draws opportunities and people toward you. Women will sense this power not as something you are performing, but as something you are, and they will be irresistibly drawn to it. Not because you are trying to attract them, but because you have become inherently attractive. This is the great secret. The power you seek over your life and over your relationships must first be built within the forge of your own character. The external world is merely a mirror reflecting the internal reality. So pick up the hammer, light the forge, and begin the sacred work of building yourself into a man of substance, a man of power, a man who needs no one's permission to be great. You stand now at the precipice of total transformation, understanding the mechanics of power, having broken the chains of approval seeking and forged an unshakable inner foundation. Now we synthesize these elements into a single unified philosophy of being. This is where you move from theory to embodiment, from practice to mastery. This is the anatomy of complete sovereignty, beginning with the true nature of female desire, which is not the romantic fantasy you were sold, but a deep biological imperative. A woman does not want your love, she wants your power. Her desire is an algorithm refined by millions of years of evolution, scanning for one thing: survival advantage through genetic excellence and resource acquisition. This manifests in three distinct levels of selection. The physical trigger, where her body responds to your posture, your voice, your gaze before you even speak, releasing hormones that dictate attraction or repulsion. The social validator, where her tribe, her friends, her family must perceive you as a prize, increasing her social capital. And finally, the emotional anchor, where you create contrast, taking her from boredom to excitement, from safety to adventure. This is the core of female desire. Not stability, but aliveness. Not comfort, but intensity. And you provide this not through supplication, but through your own sovereign energy, which naturally creates polarity. This leads us to the constant unseen war, the frame war. Every interaction with a woman is a battle of realities. Your frame, I am the prize. Her frame, I am testing. Our value, most men lose this war immediately. They adjust their behavior. They seek permission. They explain themselves. They get sucked into her emotional storms. The sovereign man knows the battlefield is internal. He maintains his frame at all costs through what I call the three walls. First, never justify your actions or choices. Justification is the language of the subordinate. Second, do not participate in her emotional turbulence. Remain the calm eye of the hurricane. Her storms are tests of your stability. Third, maintain your internal tempo. Do not speed up or slow down to match her rhythm. Let her adjust to your frequency. When you hold frame consistently, you are not being stubborn. You are demonstrating that your reality is the primary one. And this is the most powerful attractant you can display. It signals that you are the center of your own universe, and she is invited to orbit. Not the other way around. This culminates in the final realization becoming the prize. This is the ultimate mental shift. The complete inversion of the paradigm. You stop asking, is she right for me, and start asking, is she worthy of me? You stop seeking to be chosen, and you assume the role of the chooser. This is not arrogance. It is the natural confidence that comes from knowing your own value and being engaged in a mission that is larger than any relationship. To operationalize this, you must cultivate the practice of abundance. This does not mean dating multiple women. It means knowing in your core that you have options, that your life is full and complete, with or without a partner, that you are the source of your own validation. This abundance mindset eliminates desperation and neediness. It allows you to walk away from any situation that does not serve your highest purpose. Because you know another will appear, finally you master the black swan effect. You become a man of unexpected value. You are not predictable, not easily categorized. You are constantly learning, growing and surprising her, not for her sake. But for your own. This constant evolution, this relentless self-overcoming, is what makes you irresistible. You are not a static entity. You are a force of nature, a project that is never complete, a mystery that is never fully solved. This is the complete sovereign, the man who has integrated the knowledge of power dynamics, the discipline of self-validation, and the art of holding frame. He does not chase, he attracts, he does not convince, he demonstrates, he does not need, he provides. He understands that a woman is not the goal of his life, but a magnificent companion on his heroic journey to become all that he is capable of being. This is the end of seeking and the beginning of finding, not outside of yourself, but within the infinite potential of your own sovereign will